Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another issue of Sly's Rant and Rave. Now, this one's going to be a little bit of a touchy subject. It's been going around for a couple of weeks now, but I figured it's about my time to put in my 2 cents about all this bullshit. And what I'm talking about is this whole shit going around with New York and a couple other states doing abortion up to the moment of birth. Now, I keep saying now, I've seen so many YouTubers, they have the repeat words. Now, this is a controversy subject. So many people have different views and aspects about abortion, but I look at it like this. Now, I've seen topics and coming up in the lines of, well, if abortion isn't murder, then why is it if you kill a pregnant woman, or if a pregnant woman ends up dead during an act of an unforeseen incident such as a car accident, it is considered a double homicide? I've seen responses like, well, it's not considered a double homicide unless the unborn child is, or the pregnancy is 24 weeks. But now let's look at it in one major aspect. Don't quote me on the time frame, I'm probably off, but it's like 12 days after conception. So 12 days after you did the dirty deed, and mom is now a mom. 12 days after that, like I said, don't quote me on the exact date. That individual has a heartbeat. Its own individual heartbeat, which means it is in its own individual person, right? I mean, if something has its own heartbeat, that means it's its own individual being, which in this case is a person. So if you end the life of that being, that is murder. I mean, it would be like if I were to walk out on the streets, pull my gun, and shoot somebody. That's murder. I'm ending the life of another human being. But you have a lot of these assholes out there, a lot of these fucking Democrats. I'm not going to lay it just on the Democrats, but the majority, the mass majority, the motherfuckers who are putting this out on the table to get voted for, the motherfuckers who voted for it to pass, are the Democratic parties. The same motherfuckers who feel that Trump and his detention centers is inhumane because there are children there who are being treated inhumanely, children there who are being treated unfairly. These are the same people that say it's okay to murder an unborn child. Now, how the fuck does that really equate? So, as long as you're on your own 2 feet, as long as you're breathing your own air, as long as you have a voice of your own, then your life matters. But if your life is being supported by your mother in the womb, your life doesn't matter? Does that make any fucking sense to me? How does that equate? How is it that a helpless, defenseless individual that does not have a voice, that does not have a choice, that does not have room for actions or behavior, have less of a right than anybody else? But, oh, wait a minute. So many women are going to come out and say, well, it's my body, my choice. But wait. Didn't we just discuss this a minute ago? That individual child inside that woman's stomach that is depending on the mother for food, for everything, to be alive. That mother has the right to say, I no longer want this child, up until the time of delivery. So where does that fit in exactly? I know I'm going to keep asking that question, and it's an honest-to-God question in my opinion, but where does that fit in equally? Why is this child less important than your child you have already? Or if this is your first child, why didn't you think about this before you went out and got laid? Before you went to that party, before you went out with your one-night stand, your boyfriend, your husband, why didn't you think about this? There's a thing called cause and effect. Sex, unprotected, equals chance of pregnancy. Sure, even if you look at protected sex, if the guy wears a condom, you're still looking at that chance of pregnancy. So sex in general leads to the chance of a pregnancy. Now, there is one foolproof way to prevent a pregnancy. Well, besides not having sex, of course, but there's a little thing called the morning after pill. And if you can't afford that, if you can't afford to take alternative actions for a poor choice that you make, maybe you should think twice about making that poor choice. Now, I know some of you are going to sit there and say, well, who are you to tell me whether I can or can't have sex? If I'm rich or poor, if I have money to buy drugs or not, who are you to tell me whether or not I can or cannot have sex? It's a natural freedom of human choice. Well, plain and simple, you're playing roulette with another human being. You're running that risk of getting pregnant. Running that risk means taking on that responsibility. This isn't a fucking piece of clothing you buy from Walmart or Target. This isn't a CD or a DVD you bought where you play it a couple of times and so there you go, okay, I'm bored of this. I'm going to go put it on I'm going to put it in garage sale. Or you buy it for your girlfriend and she's like, well, I already got it. I already got this DVD. I already got this CD. Or, you know what, I don't like it. Why do you think I'd want to watch a action flick? It's not like this. This is a human being. This is a lifetime commitment. And if you don't want to make that commitment, then take alternative measures to prevent that. An abortion, which is murder, is not a preventative measure upon not having that responsibility. Because once you already done the deed, once you had sex, you're taking that action. You're taking that risk. But it's okay because, that child, it's not born yet. You can't hold it in your hands and look at it and have it look back at you with love and dependency. So it's okay. Never seen it, don't have any attachment to it. Well, shit. I've never seen any of you guys either, so if you all fucking get murdered, if I see your face on the fucking news, don't give a shit. But we have this strong connection with celebrities. Now, I know I'm getting off topic for a minute, but just bear with me. We have a strong connection with celebrities. You hear on the news about your favorite artist, your favorite singer, your favorite actor, your favorite athlete who died. You feel remorseful. Some people actually go to the point where they have a breakdown like it's their family member or best friend. You never met them in a life except for on TV or your car stereo, but you feel remorseful because they died. You see on the news that a 4-year-old child was brutally beaten by its caretaker, whether mother, father, grandparent, babysitter. You feel remorse for that child. You never met that child? Yeah, sure, okay, that child is alive. That child had a living. That child had a face. Well, you know what? This child has a face. This child has feelings. This child has emotions. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. But still, this is okay. It's okay for a mother to decide the fate of her child, her unborn child. I got one thing I've been saying about this for quite a while since I first heard about this. What was it, last week, 2 weeks ago? If we're going to pass this law, which it has been passed, but if we're going to pass this law that allows a mother the choice to choose the fate of her unborn child. Now, some of you may be a little young to remember this, and some of you may have just forgotten about it throughout time. But Dr. Kevorkian, a medical doctor who committed several acts of euthanasia. Now, for some of you who don't know what euthanasia is, it's an act of pity murder, where somebody wants to die, but they don't want to take their own life, so another individual kills them to take them out of their misery. Whether it's depression, whether it's cancer or AIDS, or whatever the reason shall be that this individual no longer wants to live, they ask somebody to take their life. Now, Dr. Kevorkian, he took several of his patients' life in the act of euthanasia. He had his medical license stripped. He is doing a lot of prison time for doing an act asked of him by the individual. Sure, you could say, well, a doctor is supposed to be there to save your life, to make you healthier. So yeah, if a doctor's out there killing his patients, he should be in prison. He should have his medical license stripped. This is totally different. This is an abortion. But isn't an abortion murder? Now, let's backtrack through all this last almost 12 minutes. Abortion is when you end the life of an individual who is still in the womb of his or her mother, who is dependent on this mother for survival. Oh, but it gets better there. So the federal base is passing a law now where you can no longer butcher your fetus. See, that's a friendly way. That's why it is so controversial, is because an unborn child is called a fetus. It's not a child. It's not a baby. It's a fetus, which is just not a person. Well, it is a person, but you get what I'm saying. It's not a baby. It's not a child. It's not a girl. It's not a boy. It's a fetus. So you're telling me that a doctor can take the request of a individual, being the mother, to kill her unborn child, and this is okay? There are so many people behind this my body, my right bullshit. How is it your body? When that child is born, it is its own individual. 100% its own individual. While the mother is pregnant, it is its own individual, dependent on the mother for survival. Now, sure, for quite a few years of a born child's life, it is dependent on a caretaker, hopefully the mother or father, whether it's natural or adopted, mother or father for survival. But I just can't wrap my mind around why euthanasia is a crime punishable by prison, punishable by having a doctor have his medical license removed, but abortion is permissible. Abortion is now legal. Abortion is not a crime, but I don't know what you want to call it. But it's not a crime anymore? Well, it hasn't been a crime in a long time, but there is officially a bill in place that states that an abortion is not a crime, is not considered murder. I don't know. I'm going to end that there before I just keep going round and round in circles. Share your opinions in the comments, and like my page. I'm sorry. I'm just been so irritated with this topic, I can't even think straight when I'm talking about it. But like my page, and go ahead and share it. Give me the thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Until then, peace out.